Okay, so once I have my signals or my charts all set up, then basically we need to, before we look at any of these lightning bolts, we need to understand a few basic principles, right, with trading. And one is we need to understand how to draw your support and resistance, right? You're going to get my auto support and resistance. Like I said, that's dropping hopefully this evening. I'm just doing the final tests on it. And yes, I'll be dropping that along with the conservative. You'll have the conservative and the aggressive option in there. And let's see here. Got it, Giuseppe. Giuseppe, I got that. Okay. So we need to understand support and resistance and things, right? So normally your exercise would be to mark up your charts, right? So you would mark them up. You would know, you would see that, for example, I'm going to do this very rough. You can see that this is a zone, right? That's obviously respected, right? It's respected at this level here. It's respected here. It's respected here. You would draw out your zones, or you can use the zones by Squawk that you'll be getting, right? Here's another zone, right? You can even see it here that it's even kind of, you know, here it's even getting very, my mouse, here it's getting, you know, you're seeing some, it's touching this level, it's retracing, and it's staying in this zone. So I would zone that out, right? You need to understand your support and resistance. I mean, that's a basic principle. We need to understand. If you don't understand it, I will gladly, I know that there's a lot of people that do understand it. If you don't understand it, I will gladly host a private session for those that don't. Just inbox me, and we can set up a private session with a few of us and just go over how we draw our zones, right? And you've got to look at that zone as, you know, that's always going to be a level of support or resistance, right? You also need to understand that simple moving averages are another level. I always look at them as another level of support and resistance. I don't care that, you know, support and who says support and resistance has got to be a straight line like what we've drawn. You know, this could be, you know, we could have support and resistance that looks like this. It's a simple moving average, right? And that simple moving average, we need to understand that important levels of simple moving average levels price will react to it. So as price approaches it, price is going to react to it. It's either going to hit it and bounce. It's either going to break through and retest it and then continue up. It may break through and shoot back down, reject it. But we need to treat simple moving averages and support and resistance, or, you know, physical levels of support and resistance as such. So physical levels of support and resistance will be your physically drawn out zones that we have here. Right, we drew this out, and then you have your psychological levels of support and resistance that are your lines, right? So we need to understand that, because that's going to help you with confluence when you get these signals, right? So also trend lines. If you've got trend lines coming from, you know, the sky, you know, somewhere, you know, on that part of the chart and it's shooting down, that is a level of support and or resistance. So because of that, we know that we should automatically know that there's going to be a reaction, unless, you know, it just shoots through. Sometimes it does just shoot through, but most times there's going to be a reaction. And that's what we prey on, right? We prey on that reaction, because if it shot through, if price just shot through, straight through, where was our opportunity to enter? Because if you were to enter here, let me just clear this up, right? And these are just basic principles. If we had, say, you know, we've got our simple moving average, right? Boom, right? Just say, and we have our trend line that draws this way. And now we're a candlestick is going to be drawn, and price is down here somewhere, right? Price is here, price is moving, blah, 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 right? And then all of a sudden it just shoots straight up, right? Where's your entry if you're going to just jump in before the candlestick closes? And if that's your style, go for it, right? If your style is that you like to wait until the candle is closed and you enter on the next candle, well, entering up here would be very scary if we're using these lines as a level of support and resistance, right? Because your stop loss is way down here, Your stop loss is way down here, right? So where do you enter, right? So some people like to enter as it crosses, and they immediately put stops here, at the, right below it. They enter up here, and then they put their stops here, and then, they hope for the best, and they hope that maybe it will bounce at this level and then continue to go up. That happens very often. I sometimes enter in the middle of a bar, of a candlestick. My indicator does not signal the lightning bolt until after the candlestick is formed. So sometimes what will happen is, let's clear this out. Sometimes what will happen is you'll have a move, right? Say this is our support and resistance, right? Price can come up, and then price comes up, or price then goes down here. Say price, this is, let me just color this. I'd like to color this just so we can see for sure, right? Right, price comes up, and then this price comes down, and this thing just shoots through the floor, right? At this point down here, when this red candle is closed at the very low, that's when you would see the lightning bolts, right? You would see the lightning bolts up here. Well, it's too late now. It could be too late, right? So you've got to really decide on how you want to read it. I like to print lightning bolts after the candlestick is closed, right? So I like to print it when price goes up, right? Price goes up, say, oops, price goes up. Price shoots up, and then on a candlestick close, we hope that it would look something like this, right? Forgive me, this is going to be a wick, a green wick, and then the next candle, kind of closes like this. And once it closes like this is when the lightning bolt will be drawn. Not on that bar, but on the bar after. So that's why on the bar that is printed, you will never see it reprint on the bar. And I was explaining that in the group, and I pinned it, that you will never see it repaint on the bar, where some indicators will, they will, let's see here, they will, let's do it this way, I'm sorry. Let's do it this way. They will shoot up. They'll form a swing high of whatever it is. It'll print right here, right? And then price goes up a little bit more, right? And then that dot, that swing high will then show here, right? And then it goes to the next bar. Price opens, it goes to the next bar. You got a little wick, it shoots down, and then it comes back up. And then that swing high marker, whatever it is that the indicator you're using, will then just mark it here, and these go away. These would disappear, and it would go away, and it would follow it until it gets to the high. My indicator will not do that. Okay, my indicator is, if I detect it, say for example, we're going to use this area here as a test, right? If I detect it, say right at this level, let me zoom in, because I don't want you guys squinting here. Let's zoom in, right? So this is super important, because you need to understand how the indicator prints, right? So when the indicator, say the lightning bolt, although the lightning bolt is here, the lightning bolt did not actually print until probably this bar. Okay, probably that bar. There could be pros and cons to that depending on your style of trading, but probably that bar. The sell signal won't occur until probably way down here. Oh, well, the sell is there, so across the SMA. In some cases, if it's still very far from an SMA, it won't print until this bar, right? It may not even print until there. Let me close this out. right? So understand that the sell signal, the lightning bolts will not repaint on the same bar. If price moves down, as it does, right, and then moves back up to a higher price, you will get a bar. You will get a bar that, you know, you'll get another lightning bolt. I can't do a diagonal, I guess, but you will get another lightning bolt that'll, not that, that will shoot up. Actually, I'll just do it from here. That'll shoot up from here, from the same start point, and it'll shoot up here. And then you'll get another lightning bolt, right? So this one has become invalid, right? But you need to then use your confluences to say, well, should you have gotten into this trade in the first place? Should you have gotten into this trade in the first place? And if you're coming on and you're about to touch an important simple moving average, why are you getting in the trade right before it's hitting and you're facing a simple moving average? Because we know that a simple moving average is a level of either physical or psychological levels of support. And if that's the case, then we should expect a reaction, right? So just because the signal is there, if you've got your confluences, jump in. If you don't have your confluences, wait, because this signal has given you an opportunity, a better entry. You know that it's a signal here, but maybe you wanted to wait until after price started to cross some moving averages, right? And if you had taken that trade, you know, for me, you know, I'm not yet 100% comfortable with going for the long-term trade and you know, calculating the drawdown and such. But for me, an entry at this level down, and say, you know, I didn't exit here, but I would have definitely taken stops. Oh, I'm sorry, partials. Everyone that knows that trade with me in the morning on Andy's channel, they know I'm taking small hits all the time, small, not losses, small profits all the time. So as it's approaching this SMA, I'm taking profits and I'm moving my stops to break even. That's 40 pips. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. 35 pips. I'm good with that. It would have come down. I'm good with it. And had price then broke down a little bit more, and had I seen this candle here, this candlestick formation of here, this gosh, I forget what it's called, brain fart, but these three candles being formed, I'm taking partials again. I'm taking partials again. Right. So and also, is that good right now? I'm sorry, Giuseppe. Let's see here. So is everyone clear for now on how oh, I've got another person. Is everyone clear with what I explained, and do we have questions on that? So okay, so you know, one question that came in is, why does the lightning bolt paints the way it does, you know, maybe 2 bars away or 1 bar away from its high? And the reason why is because I have confluences built in that let me know and make me feel comfortable that the odds are that it could continue to swing in the opposite direction, a reversal. Okay, I could easily enable it for those, and maybe this is a mode that I need to enable for those that want to see it immediately. It'll just continue to repaint, and that can be fine. If you want to see it repaint, great. If you want to see it, if you don't like the repaints, but you just much rather, you know, it redraw new lightning bolts, because ultimately, in the end, it's the same thing, right? You can see, or you're going to get the multiple lightning bolts as the lightning bolt is formed, and then it's not validated, and then it shoots up again. You're going to continue to get more lightning bolts. So you know, it's what is the saying, one dozen or, you know, one half of the other, or whatever it is, you know, it's either you're going to see it repaint, and then we need to wait for then a true sell signal, or you can get the lightning bolts immediately, look at your confluences and determine which way you want to, you know, do you want to make the entries or not. That's the way I designed it. I mean, for me, that's the way I like to trade, because when me coming up, and it's good practice for, you know, especially beginner traders, those coming up, is to make your entries on the new candlestick, the candlestick open, right? Rather than it painting and continuing up, and then you're making a decision mid period. I mean, but this is a discussion point. I could see the pros, and I like the, you know, there's pros and cons to each, but you're either going to continue to get it repainted or not, right? Because if the price goes up and you get that repaint of that swing high, and it shoots down and you sell, you're still going to have the issue of it pushing back up. So it's just visually how you want to see it. It's not going to, me having it repaint on the same candle is not going to make your trade entry any better, because price action is going to be price action regardless, right? We're trying to interpret it as best as we can to make best decisions. What do you all think about that? And does that make sense? Do we have any questions or concerns? Trust me, there's anyone can ask a question. You know, it's, once again, this is for you guys. And
on my screen, Leon, my cells on the 1 or on the 5 minute are different from your cells on your signals.
Are you what broker are you using? This one here is, are you looking at your FTMO?
Yeah, FTMO.
So this one isn't the FTMO account.
Okay.
This one is another broker that I use for testing. I'll throw cash when I want to do live testing. I'll throw cash in it and, you know, test it live for live trading automatically. This is not FTMO, but FTMO we could bring up. I always run both on both brokers,
Okay.
sometimes 3, simply because they do print differently, right?
Yeah.
Broker will print differently, but that's why I say and I recommend that we have the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 15 and the 30 and the 1 hour, because what may not be printed, or what you may not see on the 5 minute, you may perhaps catch it on the 1 minute with the same broker.
Okay.
Or even on the 15 minute with the same broker. So that's why it's super important to let the algo run on those multiple windows, because yeah, if you don't get the print on, you know, if you don't see the big move on, like, you know, a 1 minute, but maybe you saw it 5 minutes ago because of how those you know, those candlesticks, those 1 minute candlesticks were summed together on a 5 or a 15.
Roger. Yeah. So, and then I guess in MT5, when everyone's on carbon, then we can do all this on carbon and keeping it all in one place, where the candles are printing the same.
That's right. So then everyone that, you know, is on the same, you'd still run, I would still recommend you run multiple time frames, okay. You know, and if you're doing FTMO, you know, because I'm trading both cash and FTMO, I'm trade copying daily. And if you're doing FTMO and a non-FTMO broker, I want to see both my broker's price. I just, you know, I want to see that.
Yeah, appreciate that though.
Yeah, no worries.
You have to have the bars the same too. So you know the standard 300 pops up on there. Change it to 1,000. If you don't change it to 1,000, it won't look the same either.
That's right. So if you don't change it to, well, that's if you're back testing, right? But if you were running it live, you can just go to, you can run it under, you know, and you have a slow computer, you can just change it to keep it 300 or 100, because who cares, you know, 5, well, I guess you do care, because if you're doing, if you're running trend lines and such from lightning bolt to lightning bolt, or from, you know, lightning bolt to another swing high, you're going to want to see historical entries or historical lightning bolts. So yeah, so keeping it at a 300 or 1, you know, at 300 or more is good. So once again, simple moving averages. I mean, look how it's just, I mean, it's just clear how it respects it all the time. I mean, and that's why it's so good to just know this. When trading, you know, look, it respected it here, right here, right? It respected it there. It shot up, it retested that, that red simple moving average, and then it shot back up. It retested it here, it retested it here, right? It retested it here on, you know, it shot down and shot back up. Like, you know, simple moving averages are to be respected for sure. Right, and that's why I'm always looking at, and as my day goes, then I get into this rhythm, right? So as my day goes, if I don't see lightning bolts, I'm drawing my trend lines. I'm looking at previous lightning bolts, right? So for example, let's see here. Right. So for example, we see this lightning bolt was formed. Let me just move this here. We see this level was formed, and I'll just draw this out. We see this level of support and resistance was drawn, right? So you get a lightning bolt here, the first one here, and it shoots down, and then it eventually retests that level. For me, say I didn't even get this sell signal, forget it, say I didn't even get it, because for me, I know that's a swing high point, and for me, that's going to be a level of resistance of some sort. If it's touching that and I'm seeing it's rejecting it, I'm selling. I do take aggressive moves sometimes. I'm selling it for a quick scalp. Right, so here, let's just see here if I throw this on advisor properties. Let's see. Let's just see. Right, so if I go now to the 15, we'll let that go, let it draw it all out. It's drawing the zones out. And if I go back to the 5, you could see my indicator drew out that level of support right where right at this level. So for me, that's, I see it respected it here. Well, this is the first iteration of it. It respected it here. It respected this level of resistance here. It looks like it's having trouble shooting through, and then it eventually respected it here. So I get a sell signal. This is my, when I'm looking at this, I'm getting a sell signal. I'm seeing it's rejecting my supply zone, my support and resistance zone here, this particular zone, and it's beginning to cross over simple moving averages. I'm in. That's how I'm trading it. I'm completely in this particular trade. Right, so that's what I'm looking at. Here's a swing low, it's in the middle of a zone. I probably wouldn't take that trade yet, but once it starts to break out of this zone here, once it starts to break out of this zone, I'm in it. I'm in this trade. Plenty of times, I mean, you guys have seen me plenty of times where, I'm making decent money and decent pips on the opposite move of what we're focused on. I'll try to get in on that.
You want to get home?
Please mute your phone. I'll mute. So, like I missed this trade, this move here because it's Monday and I was trying to be conservative, and I was like, damn, everyone ate, I need to eat. so I caught the reversal trade. I caught the reversal position. Look at this here. This one is a good entry too for me in my eyes here, because I get a buy signal after it rejected. I get a lightning bolt and a buy signal after it rejected the 200. 200 is a major level of rejection, right? So I'm in it all day, all day. That's how I'm trading, you know, that's how I'm trading US 30. I definitely try to get on the longer moves, you know, that everyone, you know, in the morning and the evening live Zooms are marking up, and, you know, for sure I'm getting in on those too, you know, but at the same time, I'm looking for other opportunities when things are not, or when things are slow. And then, of course, continue to draw your trend lines. Of course, continue to draw your trend lines the way we normally do, right? You know, I'm just drawing it rough, but of course, continue to, you know, if this were drawn from here, if all this didn't exist yet and it was just here to here and started to move, we'd probably draw it right here, and now we're getting a touch here. Like, I keep my trend lines up. I keep my trend lines up. Let's see, is it gonna make a liar out of me? Or, I know this is my dev machine, but yeah, if I were to zoom in on my actual trading machine, this is what I just drew, but my actual trading machine, you would see trend lines all over the place. Any thoughts, Jeremy, as you're maneuvering through the day, and if you're running in parallel the lightning bolt strategy, what are you seeing? What are your concerns? You know, what questions may be helpful for everyone?
I think the biggest concern I have is probably the broker on FTMO is like on the 5 minute and the 1 minute, and didn't catch the market open sell or the buy off the rejection off the 200.
Yeah. So that one, I think you're going to start to catch with aggressive mode.
Okay.
Because when I looked back at it, you know, the sell was not when we were looking at the sell, it was actually, you know, about an hour earlier, it was market, and there was a sell there. So
yeah, I got that one. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but you would catch it, I think, with the aggressive. Once I get the aggressive in your hands, then you'll start to see that. We just need to be very leery and very careful that it could possibly, you know, be a lot of, there'll be more false alarms, and we just need to align it. Since we're using the dot to dot, aligning that with this should be really, really good.
Yeah, and I think like if you're seeing it with the zone and I got it on, like if I would have saw that sell signal originally, it's just more confidence in it. And like, I know if it's bouncing off that 200 with a lightning bolt on aggressive mode, like those are solid setups that I didn't have that extra confidence in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think aggressive mode would definitely help once that is out.
Perfect. That'll be good. Yes, I'll get that in your hands. For me, it looks like it's testing, but I will get that in your hands. As far as, you know, when people mention, hey, you know, repainting of zones, that's a quite trivial thing for me, because when you look at my zones go way back, right? So look at these zones here. You know, if I go back to say the 1 minute, I didn't draw it on there, but where else did I draw zones? I'm testing. Look at these lines here. Like, look at this whole section here. You know, there's zones that are from historical price data days ago, right? If you were to look at this is days ago. It's drawing out. These zones they're not starting from the right and then painting to the left. My zones are finding, you know, support and resistance levels way back in time and then drawing them out. Look, this is where it starts. This is where that whole bar started here with this swing high. And it drew it out to current day, and it kept track of it till current day. So it does not repaint, but however, everybody's zones are different, right? Because how a zone is drawn is based on what we are all looking at individually, and what bar, what moment in time are we looking at, right? So if I draw a zone that's 1 hour before you drawing your zone as a starting point, they could be two totally different price levels. So yes, the zones don't reprint, but sometimes you may want to, you know, draw them differently. But I like the way I draw. I like the way mine are drawn. They're very, you know, they're very respected and very rough at the same time. But, you know, I can see, I can get the gist of what's going on here, right? So, for example, this zone, you know, we know that in this area, it definitely respected. In this area, you know, it definitely, oh, I keep doing the wrong thing. Hold on. Sorry, guys and gals. So in this area, you know, prices ended up in the zone, right? Prices in the zone, right? Here, price didn't quite reach the bottom zone, but I'm getting the point on what's happening here, right? That doesn't necessarily mean it's rejecting here. It could be rejecting this level, really. It shot down, it broke it, and then it's shooting back up. Any questions on this? Anybody from, you know, anybody in the group, anybody from Andy Peters' group as well on the Zooms? What have we seen? Any concerns? What would you like to see?
Oh yeah, one thing I'd like to see is, I know you mentioned running a tight stop loss with your trades. So how tight are you running? I think you said like no more than 10 pips.
Well, I don't, you know, my trades very rarely hit my calculated stop loss.
Yeah.
Right? They very rarely hit that because I'm quick to close a position. I'm quick to close a position all the time. Let's see if I could find an example of like what could have been like a scenario for me. Right, just say hypothetically. Actually, let's try something else. We'll see it more on the one. Let's give an example here. Okay, you know, this is a totally, it's a bad trade, but I'm just going to use this as an example, right? Say I was wanting to short at this level. Just say, for some dumb reason, there's no reason really, but say I wanted to short this level. My stop loss would probably be here, above that simple moving average, right? Say it were further, I don't know, just leave it there. For example, if price, you know, price went down in my direction and then it shot up and I'm seeing this bar and I'm already in the negative, I'm already in the red, and I'm seeing like a strong bar. I'm seeing, you know, this combination here of bar of two tweezers, and then I'm seeing it push up really hard here on this big green bar. I'm closing my position. It's just me. I'm protecting my dollar soldiers. That's just how I trade. You know, some people will, you know, they're comfortable with, you know, a stop loss way back there. I'm not that comfortable with it just yet. Maybe my strategy will change over time, but I'm closing it before it even hits my stop loss. And then I'll look for more re-entries if I get confirmations, or if I get a, you know, some sort of confirmation that my sell is still good, then I'll look for a new entry. Yeah, then maybe I'll look for a new entry. Like, just say if you see the way it's printing now, if it's printing like that now with this long wick, maybe I'd probably get right in. You know, with this long wick, I know it's bullish, it's a bullish with the long wick, but maybe I would get in there and hopefully grab a few pips, enough for me to take a decent profit and then move my stops to break even. That's what I'm constantly doing. I'm constantly taking a little bit of profit, moving my stops to break even. And then what happens, what I'm noticing is that I may get stopped out once, twice, maybe the third time when I get in is when it finally runs, right? Because it's consolidating, prices moving up, prices moving down, it knocks me out. I'm taking profits, it's knocking me out. I'm taking profits, it's knocking me out. You know, I gather those, you know, few $100 or, you know, $1,000, and then all of a sudden I get back in where I still, because I still feel confident in my direction, my decision that it's going to go short, and then eventually it'll start to run.
Yeah, that's kind of psychologically how I look at it as well, is if you know you have a good position and kind of good analysis of where the market's about to go, is it doesn't matter if you get knocked out a couple times, as long as it's a small loss, because that win is going to more than take care of that.
100%, Kyle. And for me, and you know, I was talking to someone today about that on a Zoom, and you know, most people, they'll set the stop loss and they'll get knocked out, and they'll say, "Oh man, I'm knocked out." And I'm thinking, well, why aren't you? And I was explaining, but your trade still may be valid. That could just be a you know, a retest of a certain level before it continues to go. Your trade may still be valid. Be prepared to re-enter.
Yeah,
You know, and that's what I do. That's what I do. Is I'm constantly getting back into a position if I feel confident about it.
now do you find that method works more often or higher percentage during regular market hours rather than kind of off hours?
Yep, Kyle. So for me, and like I explained to everyone, you know, people making US 30 and US 100 trades, you know, at 9 p.m. Pacific time, because I'm getting the text, you know, Pacific time, and people are saying, "Oh my God, I got the lightning bolt," or you know, you got someone in the chat a little, you know, questioning everything. Why? For me, for the way I trade, there's no way I'm trading a US pair in Asia market unless something crazy was happening, unless I had a setup where there was a trend line, right? And there was a trend line, and I've got my orders, you know, somewhere. I got my orders pending, you know, somewhere up here, you know, above this simple moving average, right? Maybe I've got my buy orders pending right there, and then it just happens to get in. But am I fishing for moves at that time? No way, no way, because you know, and because if you're looking for, and for me, I'm looking at a lot of things, and I don't want to confuse, you know, a lot of people, but I'm looking at ATR, which is the average trading range within 14 bars. And, you know, there was a good example last week. We were going over an example, myself and the team, and we were looking at a trade and wondering, well, you know, why was this signal not good? Well, when I threw ATR on there, the average trading range was 1 pip. 1 pip, it was literally 1 pip, and maybe 1.5 pips. And it's like, well, why are you trying to get 10 pips if you have a 10 pip target, if you know the average bar is less than your target? If your ATR is less than your target, then what you're trying to do is swing it, because you're trying to get 1 bar, another bar, another bar, another bar, you know, till you get to your 10 pips. But if you're trading in your ATRs, the average trading range is 25, 30 pips in a bar, and you've picked the direction and you see it's going that way, chances are you're going to hit your 10 pips. So I don't trade outside, you know, you want to trade where there's most volume. And I did the stats, and I'm still going to run the stats for everyone. That I did get a bunch of I did pick up a bunch of symbols that people want me to run some stats on. But for me, when I do the stats for US 30, the best hours to trade this thing so I ran, you know, I basically ran a calculation of, give me the hour where I could find the hour where I can gather the highest trading range for the entire hour, for the entire 60 bars. I'm sorry. Yeah, for the entire 60 minutes in an hour, right? And here this is saying that this ATR total is saying, hey, you know what? That's a scalp. A good opportunity to trade is at 6 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Eastern. Next best time is 7 a.m. Eastern 10 and Eastern 11, my 8 a.m. Right? If you were to swing, get into a swing trade, this is just basically what I measured was the swing high and swing low, and I calculated the number of bars that a swing high and swing low can go. And at 10 a.m., you'll be swinging for about 24 hours if you wanted to swing it. Or at 6 a.m., you could get into a trade at 6 a.m. And if you get in properly, then you could probably hold that position for 12 hours before it starts to do a swing low on or a change of direction on an hour chart. So if you're trading and you're scalping, because that's what we're doing every day, we're doing like scalping an intraday, right? That's exactly what we're doing. And if you're doing it outside of these hours, that doesn't even show up on my radar. I will look at 12 a.m. midnight. I will look at 12 a.m. midnight to see if I can get into a position where I can just get a quick scalp and maybe have a floater, and hopefully that floater will last until the morning. But if you need to understand what time you're trading. Andy's not trading right now. We're not hosting a US 30 call right now. Andy's not giving us markups. He's getting up in the morning. Why? Because he knows in the morning time, that's the best time to trade US 30, US 100, gold.
And I think that's a good point to bring up too. If people are looking at this thinking that it's just kind of a golden ticket for all hours of the day, it's really not. Like, your indicators are only going to work so well when they're given the right parameters.
That's correct. When there are right conditions, and one of the right conditions we know is going to be volume.
Yeah.
Right. Volume. I mean, too much volume. Look at what happened Friday when everything dumped. I was looking at the US 30 chart and I was getting a buy. It was reprinting, and the price was continuing to drop. I mean, that was a totally different animal. We were clearly, no one should have been taking those signals, because you've got to look at overall. You got to know where you're at in the market, and at the time you're getting these buy and sell signals, right? So as it was dumping and you're getting a little buy signal, I mean, understand where you're at in the market. There's a sell-off. There's a sell-off, and you want to just understand what are the best times to trade in U.S. market. In getting close to, say, I won't look at anything until maybe 10 p.m. But a 10 p.m. call, a 10 p.m. Chart review. I'm looking at GBP pairs. I'm looking at JPY pairs. I may start looking at the German 100, but I'm not looking that early at US 30 at all, or US 100. So you're going to get some signals that just aren't going to make sense, because but you need to understand also where you're at in the market, and the best way to know that is look at volume here. What if we got signals here? Look at down here. We got signals here. Like we get if you're trying to trade in this time period and it's no volume compared to the average times, and you're in the low, well, you should be looking for a swing, and I don't even recommend that. Any questions?
Not a question, but man, just looking at this thing I've been playing around with it since I got it yesterday or the day before, and then just looking at the charts now, it's just, if you risk that just small amount and wait for the perfect entry, it just, it's a killer. It's a killer, man. This thing is.
You got to just, once again, you have to just, it's not a, tell all. It definitely works well when you understand, how it moves. I've picked those SMAs specifically based on the tests that I've ran when I developed it, right? And how it responds there and how I would exit. And, it's great for adding additional confidence to a strategy, or giving you that confidence to, giving you the confidence to your own strategy. But, as price is moving and you're getting a signal, always check, always verify it. Hey, is it at a level? Is it on a level of support or resistance? Is it, crossing an SMA? How far is the next SMA ahead of us, moving average ahead of us? Am I going to run into trouble there before I get in? You need to understand, where you're at in the market.
Yeah, and I think this with Andy's method, because he really has a very, very simple method. And then when you bring it over this, which is still, I mean, to look at it, it's simple to see and simple to read.
Yeah.
Just to kind of give you two different confluences to look at for your trade. I mean, it's amazing. I can't say how awesome I think it is more.
Appreciate that. So some people are asking some questions here. How does the bolt react to market open on the 1 minute, like we trade on Zooms? I mean, the 1 minute, I mean, if it's printing if it's giving the proper confluences in the algo, it's going to print a signal. If not, it won't. And the market opens moving so fast that sometimes it won't give a signal, simply because, what I'm looking for is, for example, specific candles to print. It's got to have a certain wick. It's got to have, once again, I have ABCD patterns built into it, right? So if price is just going down and then up, that's not enough confluence for me to print a signal. Maybe that's another indicator down the road for how to manage, market open or something, but that you may not get that signal here. So what you would need to have are, the additional markups. And I think someone was asking that, could we see a breakdown on how you identify your trading setups in the morning for New York, US 30 specifically? Well, very, very similar to what, the team does on Andy's page with the trend lines. But also I'm looking at, for me, I've always been focused on support and resistance. So I'm marking up, but this marks up for me. This really marks up for me. I'm looking at it. I don't have to draw my support and resistance. The only thing I have to do is draw my trend lines in the morning. And then I'm looking for, well, where do I think it's going to break or retest or reject, and so forth. This really has made it a lot easier for me. I don't have to do, the only markups I have to do in the morning are trend lines. That's it. Because I'm using, I'm seeing the support and resistance auto drawn for me. And I trust it and I like it, and I use it, for what it's supposed to be. I hope that is, I hope that answers your question. But, once again, I'm looking at break and retest, the good old fashioned break and retests of physical levels of support and resistance. I'm looking at, is it approaching a SMA? I do play fibs. I don't want to complicate things, but I do play fibs, and I look to see, hey, is it approaching some sort of golden zone somewhere? Is price approaching that golden zone? Let's see here. Right. So here, for example, you look at this. I auto draw the fib here, right? And price actually broke, into the golden zone, the 50 and the 618, and then rejected it. I'm looking at those things like the 50 and the 618, this zone, it shot above, it rejected this level of, this support, this SMA, this moving average is playing in this golden zone, so I'm looking for setups like that too. But, the indicator is set for specific conditions, and without overloading it with a lot of other stuff like the, fibs and such. I think this is very good, and this gives me a lot of moves. It gives me a lot of moves that I make on a daily basis. Concerned about December? I'm not concerned about trading in December. No, I'm not concerned about trading in December at all. Especially the way I trade. I mean, you guys have been seeing, whoever's in Andy's group, you've been seeing me post the wins on a daily. And I'm not really concerned about it. I'll stay out the game if I need to for a day if things are bad, or I will, I'm scalping. I'm a scalper. I'm a scalper. My strategy is to scalp, and then hopefully hope that the position gets to an intraday type of position. right? So that's why I'm scalping. I'm taking my profits. I'm moving my stops to break even. And then hopefully if I get a good run and price moves away from my open, then that becomes an intraday trade. So, so just to recap, the key points are when you're trading this, make sure you have your confluences and you can use these 4 simple moving averages. And if you're drawing out support and resistance, make sure you're maintaining the support and resistance, stretching it out so that you can see where you're at in the market. Hey, I'm approaching a major level, or price is sitting on a major level of, it's rejecting a major level of support. That could be a good buy. You need to understand those things. We can go through this more and more. I'll come up with maybe different exercises or something. Maybe I could enable the strategy tester on this end, and we can go through time and just test periods and play it out. That may be helpful for you to see, but I think with what you have, when you're painting your chart, when it's going from just this, or just buy and sell signals and no SMAs, and you're adding SMAs, and you're adding then your zones, then things should really start to make sense and be very clear.
It's amazing, man. I can't wait to get the next rendition of this to play with it.
Yeah, that's gonna probably come out tonight, like I said. So yeah, that's gonna come out, and hopefully that'll help people. But is there anyone, I've been getting a lot of messages on my Instagram with screenshots of their wins with the lightning bolt setup. Some have dropped it, on my Telegram to me directly that I've been sharing also. Is there anyone in here that's traded the lightning bolt so far? Anyone?
Yeah, I've been messing around with it on over the weekend with Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Okay, how did that work out for you? Were there fake outs? Were you profitable? Did the setups play out?
There were some fake outs. It was kind of off time, even for crypto. But it was more or less just me getting comfortable with the whole strategy, just kind of seeing how everything played out. I wasn't really looking at anything else. I just wanted to take it at its very base and see how that worked out.
Yeah. I know someone, I think I shared it in the group. Someone was trading Ethereum this weekend and made a nice little mint on Ethereum. So I know, and I played it on Ethereum over the weekends, and it worked out well for me. So yeah.
I think that was Rudy in our group, at least.
Say again.
I think that was Rudy in our group, at least.
Yes. There was I don't know if it was Ethereum or Bitcoin, but yeah.
Ethereum. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Ethereum.
Yep. So yep. There you have it. Once again, I really would like the feedback. I really, in terms of what questions you need to have answered. If you're afraid to ask, inbox me. Just send me a message on the side or something. And on which pairs, one is let's go up a little bit. Do you prefer the strategy on shorter time frames, or do you see that this carries out across all time frames? I like it on the 1 minute for sure. I've been trading that more with my with my markups on the 30. So that's why when I draw the trend lines or the zones, you're going to be able to choose what time period you want the zones to be drawn on. So I'll draw my zones on the 30, and then I'll drop back down to like a 1 minute or 5 minute, keeping those 30-minute zones on the chart. And so I like to mark up on the 30 or the 15, and then drop to the 1 for all entries. But it plays out. If you wanted to swing it, you can definitely swing it with this on a 15 and a 30 minute, even a 1 hour. I find that when you're getting to those, when the higher the time frame is, it feels like it's even more accurate. As far as broker, I'm trading FTMO on my own cash accounts. I don't really sponsor any brokers or anything. So this is, the question about the broker thing is always, I always ask why are people asking about that, the broker? If we're promoting a broker, that would be, Jeremy could, of course, drop Carbon Capital. That's Andy's, that's what.
Carbon's the best.
What's that?
No, I was messing around. I said Carbon's the best.
That's right. You know, so, you know, I always, you know, wonder why is it, what's the question for? What's your question? Is it spreads? Is it, you know, liquidity? Are you getting slippage? What's the actual question? On which pairs do you need it the most? I'm not quite understanding that question 100%. You use it on any pair that you want to trade. You know, you slap this on any pair that you want to, you know, identify some opportunities for some entries.
Trade copy.
Trade copy. So trade copy in regards to like, am I trade copying or what to use?
For example, you know, I'm doing top tier challenge. I'm about to do another one. Is there a way to trade copy? Like say I'm taking all my trades on one top tier to another one?
Yeah, you can go to trade-copier.com, and that's a trade copy that I use. And there you can set up your accounts and set up your master account, your slave accounts, and set up your parameters for lot sizes and things like that. And you can trade copy. I do that all the time. I use Trade Copier every single day because I'm doing, you know, the FTMO, I'm doing my cash account, and now I'm doing both my validation and my challenge and my cash on you know, on a daily. So I'm trade copying it. You know, you just got to be careful because sometimes certain conditions, there are certain conditions where you may not get into a trade on one of your slave accounts, and you just need to be, you know, careful of that. And also when you move your stops to a break-even point on your master account that you're trading on and making the trades, that may not be the same open price as your slave account, right? So you just need to go, and what I do is I go and I will move and I'll just make minor adjustments on my trade copier accounts, my slave accounts, to make sure that, you know, they're all protected, because you don't want to get into a position and then someone else, you know, your other account gets into position 5 pips later and you move stops to break even, and then that account will be exposed by 5 pips. So you just got to be careful of those scenarios.
So obviously you could do it on FTMO. Have you ever heard of not being allowed on top tier or anything like that? Or does it really matter? Because you're not.
I haven't messed with top tier. I haven't messed with any other program except FTMO.
You cannot use it on top tier.
Yeah.
You'll get, I'm pretty sure they'll kick you off immediately.
Yeah.
Sure,
You know,
trade copying your own stuff.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the lightning bolt. You can trade. I'm pretty sure you can trade copy on top tier.
Would the lightning bolt not be valid on top tier?
Yeah, someone tried to use it, one of Rudy's friends, and he got kicked off like pretty much immediately.
What do you mean when he put it on the chart, it immediately just locked it? So they detected that there was an indicator. You see, the thing is that's crazy. They're looking for EAs because they're thinking that that's an auto trader, and this is auto trading. The only reason why it's an EA is simply because I need to have user authentication, and that could only be done in an EA, not an indicator. So that's
part of the reason why.
Yeah. And then those things, though, you know, those things I always question why. You know, if that, I don't know much about that program or the other programs, but if you're truly not funded, then I could see maybe why. But if you're truly funded and you're successful and you have a bot that's running, I can't imagine why they wouldn't allow that. I know FTMO will not allow you to run it on a trade copy. You know, you can't trade copy accounts, but as far as a EA, they do allow you to run your indicators, your algos.
Are you trade copying your cash account?
Yes.
On FTMO? That's how you're doing it?
No, I'm trading my FTMO and I'm mirroring it to my cash.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Because right now I want to, you know, I'll manage the cash portion, but right now I just want to get these FTMOs passed, and it's so tricky at times. You know, there's so many different rules. I just want to keep that like right in my face. So I'm looking at their prices and I'm making the trades there.
Makes sense. Yeah, the rolls will get you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, carrying over loss to the next day, and then now, you know, things like that. So So yeah, well, I'm super excited about this. I'm hoping everyone else is super excited. We can definitely get on, some sessions. We do have, I am trading in the morning with Andy Peters. That's Jeremy. That's a bunch of the guys there that are on there in the morning time, and they will use they use Andy's dot to dot, and they also use the lightning bolt indicator as confluence as well. Yeah, they understand that point. Hey, you definitely want to have additional confluence, so this helps them with their confluence, and it will definitely help you as well. I will start some live sessions, or maybe join Andy's evening session with Cody. I know Cody does some live trading as well, so I may join him on some live sessions as well, or I will have some breakout groups. I'm just, hey, let's just drop a link and let's just go live and let's see what we can see, and let's just take advantage of some opportunities. But yeah, I want you guys to just, use it, let it run on your machine, take a look at it, watch it in action, watch it, run, watch it, treat it like a livable, breathable thing that's just running. And then you can start to learn the behaviors and start to see, well, how is it doing this? Why is it doing that? And then of course, take screenshots. And if you take screenshots, make sure you capture that bottom bar with the timestamps and such, so that I can go back in time and take a look and see exactly what's going on. And I could answer your questions.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you much. Thank you much.
Absolutely.
Any other questions about the lightning bolt and how it's formed and how to trade it? Like, I definitely dropped a whole lot, but I just want to make sure that there's no questions that are just hanging out there that aren't answered. You can ask me now, you can inbox me. For those that know, I've been jumping on a lot of people's, I've been dropping Zooms with people, on a daily, just getting them up to speed with this and such. So if you have any questions on setup, on, your templates and, just trading it, let's talk. And let's rock and roll. I know that this is on this is an announcement. I know that this is on a special for Black Friday. That's going to end, I think, tomorrow night. However, because you don't have the zones, and I'll be dropping that, I'm not going to take it off of discount. I'm going to keep it on the discount for some time, because I want everyone to get a good full run on the indicator, and then of course let the community grow, and if things go well, I could just leave it where it's at. So yeah, so just announcing that now. I want people to just get this in their hands and rock this for a good 2 months with the zone, so that you get a good feel for it, and you get used to it and familiar with it.
Okay, bro.
Good to go, guys. Hit me up. Let me know. Hit me up. I'm here for you, and I'll see you in the morning on Andy's session. And I'm gonna talk to Cody and see what he's doing, and maybe join him there as well.
Sounds like a
Thanks,
plan,
brother.
bro. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks a lot, everyone, and I'll drop this link here for everyone. Thank you much. I greatly appreciate it, everyone.
I appreciate it, brother.
See you tomorrow, bro.
Bye-bye.